welcome to the Tech Hour. Today we're going to show you how to, and this Tech Hour is specifically for teams. We're going to show you how to use the commission tab. And so if you are a Rainmaker or if you are an admin for a team, then this class is definitely for you. Excuse me. So my screen is shared, and what I'm showing you right now is an actual contact. And so the contact is me, of course. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to go and find the opportunity. So we find our opportunities over here, and you click on, whatever opportunity you have. So I think it's going to be this one. And now you're usually, when you come in, you already be highlighting your details. And this is assuming that at this point, you've already started the compliance process. So inside of documents, you will have, all of your documents uploaded, and you will submit your folder. And so now we're going to go in to get paid. And so the commissions tab is a tab that is going to be replacing, the green sheet. Excuse me. It's going to be replacing the green sheet. And so this is going to be the way, starting on September 1st, moving forward. This is going to be the way that you are going to get paid through, or your teammates are going to get paid through this commission tab. And so there will be no more green sheets, or the green sheets won't be accepted anymore after January, or I keep saying January, after September 1st. All right. So offers. So we click on the offers tab. You'll see that I have already created an offer, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this offer because we're going to go ahead and create another offer. And the offer is just going to be a ratified offer. Okay. So, and what you'll notice is the commissions tab is going to be grayed out. And so the only way that you can get this accessible is that you fill out an offer. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and add a new offer. This can be anything. It doesn't really matter. You can leave it as initial offer. I'll say ratified contract, and we'll create the offer. Now, when you come in, excuse me, it's gonna ask you for your offer date and your close date. If these are correct, then you can keep them. The way that these are pulled is from your details. And so let's see. So the contract date in here is 5/12. Let's see if that actually matches up. Oh, I guess I have to go back. Okay, it doesn't match up. So they're putting in just random dates at this point. And I think that is today's date. So, so what we're going to do is we're just going to put in a random offer date. And let's say the offer was made on the 11th, and we close on the 3rd. Okay. And so you click on parties. The only thing that you have to fill out here, so if you're representing the seller, that seller's name is going to be there, and the representation name is going to be there. So the agent on your team, their information is going to be there. So the only thing you'll have to put in is the buyer, and the buyer's name, and the associate's name. And all of that is going to be everything that's starred. You'll see, just so as a reminder, just anything that's starred, that's what you're going to definitely have to have. So we'll just put in all right, we'll put in 2 agents' names, and we'll move forward. Okay. So on this area of the offer, all you'd actually have to fill in to move forward is, well, ensure that there's a correct sales price, because that gets pushed over into the commissions tab. So let's say that the financed amount is $500,000 and the cash down is $50,000. Now that adds that up automatically, and you put in, and the sale price is already there. Just beware, it does not do it backwards. And so you can't put in anything here. It's only going to calculate what's actually here. Okay. Now, if you want to, you can always put in the earnest money deposit. Sometimes I'll put that in, but it doesn't really matter. There's nothing that, you know, gets pushed over to the commission side. And you can also put in your seller's cost, and this is just for your record keeping. So, you know, if there's a home warranty on the house that the seller has provided, you can put that amount there. And also, if there is settlement costs that were being paid, so like closing costs or anything like that, you can put that in as well. So you hit agent analysis, and there's nothing that you'd have to put in here. What this is for, let's say you're the seller, you're representing the seller on the listing side, and there are multiple offers. You can put in multiple offers here, and you can analyze like the pros and the cons of each offer, and then you would save it, and you'd have one offer here. And then you could go in, add a new offer, and you can have multiple offers. And then it'll generate, you can generate a URL, send that URL to your client, and they can look at, they can compare the offers apples to apples. Okay. And so that's what that analysis part is for. But for the purposes of, you know, doing commissions and getting paid, you don't have to do that. I would just put in the ratified offer and then hit accept. Once you've accepted that, now the commissions tab is open, and now we'll go into it and start putting in the information. All right. And so essentially what happens is it pulls all the information from the offers tab that you need. If anything has changed, then you'll see like a, you know, an error here for you to go and fix it. Okay. And so essentially when you look at this breakdown says, okay, this is the sales price, this is the commission rate, and that commission rate is actually pulled from here, which, you know, that's a really high commission. But it could be, you know, sometimes, you know, you get both sides of the transaction and there's no representation on the other side, then you could get the 5%. So, you know, we'll leave that there. So that's what the commission rate is. And this would be the total commission check that's coming into the office. Okay. Now, one thing to see is that this number has to match this number. Okay. If somehow it's different, so let's say, you know, let's say I have some reason it says 13.5 and you save the changes, now you're going to get this error because it's saying, okay, there has to be someone else, you know, that you need to pay this commission out to for everything, for our books to be equal. And so that gives you the opportunity to do your splits with your team. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to say, we're going to do, let's say it's a 50-50 split on a team. So what we'll do is we'll say 27.5, that's 13,750. Okay. So we'll say 13,750. All right. And we will say that the first agent gets the unit. If you have, you know, if you have something, if you have a way on your team, like if the teams actually split the units, then you can always change that. So if it would be 0.5 for one agent and 0.5 for the Rainmaker, you can always change that to that. But I usually keep this as 1. And I usually keep it as 1, and then I'll pay out, you know, 0 units to the Rainmaker, just so that agent can get all the credit for that one house, but it all depends on what your team splits are and what those agreements are. Okay, so this is saying we have a 13,750 balance. Okay, so what we would do is add another agent, and this agent in this would be in your office, and essentially because this is a Rainmaker, it would be, you know, on your team. So let's type in, all right, and all of this is correct. So you hit save changes. And so now what you'll see is that we've just added the Rainmaker or whoever gets a split. Okay. And so essentially it works the same way as you did with the green sheet, except, I mean, and you'll have to do all of the math, you know, on paper first, and then you'll figure out, you'll start typing in the split. So if there's a third person and it's split equally, then you'll just divide, you know, the 27,500 by 3, and then everyone gets an equal split. Okay. Now, if there is a co-broker, so let's say you're paying out, uh, someone that gave a referral to the team, then you would put that there. And this is where you would put in all the information. Okay. So let's see if this is working correctly. Is that 27,500 times 0.25? Okay, 68.75. Yeah. Okay. So one of the issues that we're working on now is that this is actually saying that that's 1.25%, when in actuality it's going to be 25% of the gross commission. But this is, right now it's saying it's 1.25, and that's because this amount is 1.25% of the 550. And so it's pointing to the wrong direction. And so essentially what this is going to do is, even though it's calculating the commission wrong, it'll still, the percentage wrong, it will still go ahead and calculate everything else correctly. So we'll put in the tax ID, and we'll say EIN, company, put in that, A2. We don't have to put in the agent's name. We'll just put in a bogus address. And we'll save changes. Okay. Now, what's happened, and you'll see this on the right side, is what's happening is that this amount is coming in, and it's taking the 67 or the 68.75 off the top, and then it's taking the pay to the office, and now this is what's being paid to everyone, and that's evenly being split. So this co-brokerage is evenly being split between the two agents, and it automatically adjusts what you'll be getting. Now, the other way that you could possibly do this, if that so happens to not calculate things correctly, is you could, if it's supposed to be an even split between the two, you could actually, where's this? You can edit the agent payment, and down at the bottom, you can add an item. Okay. So I think there are 5 things, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there are five things that you can add to this agent. And so you can add a bonus. So a lot of times, I mean, not a lot of times, but there are times where, you know, if you're selling a house, and, you know, there's an extra bonus for someone bringing a buyer, then that bonus would go to that buyer. So if you were the buying agent and you sold a house to your client, then you would get that extra bonus. And so this would account for the bonus, and that bonus is added on to the commission that you're going to be getting from the check. And so this is where you would have a bonus. The concession is going to be a broker concession. So if you're, either representing the buyer or the seller, and there's some amount of money, let's say, to get the transaction to go through, you need to get them a home warranty, and you have to pay $675 or $700 for that, then that would be a broker concession. So it will show up on the disclosure sheet, the disclosure for closing. So that would be the concession. Deduction would be if there is, let's say that, so we have an office fee of $175, and typically we don't charge vets for the $175, but the office still needs to have that transaction fee. And so that would be deducted from the agent. And so that's what the deduction would be. And then the inside referral, and we have an outside referral. The inside referral is going to be for referral agent, and it's someone who's not selling, but there is a referral fee that you have to pay out. And the difference between that and an outside referral would be that there's no percentage being taken out of that. So if you had the inside referral to a referral agent, then there's no office split on that for that agent, versus the outside referral, which would be the same thing as a co-brokerage. Okay. And so this co-brokerage, it has that exact same form. And essentially what you would do is just put in that same amount. Let's see if this is working. 68.75. Yeah. And so this is doing this correctly. Okay. So the 68.75 is breaking that out. So essentially what you would do is have to split this in half. And so it'd be like right around 34, 34, 35 or something like that, for this. And then you would assess that for the other agent as well. So if this is not working for you, then you could break it out with an outside referral and assess the splits onto what this amount should be, so that it would equal out to being that. Does that make sense? Okay. So, excuse me. So another thing that you'll see when you are looking at at the commissions tab is that you'll see in real time where you are with your cap and paying into the cap. And so the cap, and this is going to be your royalty, and then this is going to be your office cap. And everyone is going to have different assessments. So I'm at a half cap. And so this half cap is going to be 14,000, but then I still have my KWRI royalty, and it'll show you how much you've actually paid in, and then it'll show you what your balance is. And so if you are if you're paying in, then this gray will get less, and the yellow will get larger. And so once this is all yellow, then that means that you'll be opted out of paying more for your royalty. And I think it's a little bit after that this would be capped as well. Okay. Now, it does not show that information for the person, for the rainmaker, or for the person that you're doing a split for. Okay. And so it just shows you that they will be, what they will be paying, but it doesn't show you like if they're capped or not, or where they are. So I mean, you probably could tell just by what they're getting paid out, but you won't have any graphs or any of this information. Okay. Now, if for some reason you are, doing a transaction with another agent in your office, you would treat that the same way as you would put on the Rainmaker. You would put them in as long as they are in your office. If they are not in your office, then you would still have to do the outside referral or the co-broker payment. And that's only because the system is set up to do these sorts of transactions. So when you're setting up the transaction and how you're doing your splits, they're set up for being inside the office, and each office is individually owned. And so they all would have, even if it's the KW Metro Center in Old Town and you're in Arlington, then that would be an outside referral. All right. So one thing that I can do is I can go through, um, let's see. So when you're editing an agent's information, you have, like I've already gone through the agent commission, the agent gross commission. The E and O, that's going to be something that that the MCAs are going to tack on. So you don't have to actually put anything in there, and you can't actually do it. And then if your agent, likes to, donate to KW Cares or Kids Can or any Bold Scholarship, you can put that information in there. Um, like I said, these are your items down here. This is what a bonus looks like. So you just put in the amount for the bonus. And if there's a split with if it's a split with the market center, then you'll do that. If not, then you'll just leave that off. Excuse me. The concession kind of works the same way. So you put in that information and excuse me, if the concession was on the closing statement, which most likely it was, then you would click that, and then it's off the top, and then that is tracking with this. The market center is paying, so that's tracking with the off the top, and then you'll add it. Let's see. So the next one would be the deduction. And so this is the deduction. Now they do ask for a tax ID and all that information, but most of the time that's not going to be necessary for the deduction type. And so you're just going to need to put in anything that's starred, which would be the amount, the reason for the deduction, who it's being paid to, and the address and the phone number. Okay. Oh, whoops. And let's see. We've gone through the outside referral. The inside referral is going to just say, what's the amount and who's the agent. And so you just type in the agent's name. Let's see. And let's say $2,000. And now if I save the changes, it would be added to Haywood that the $2,000 would be taken out. And that would show up right here as an inside referral. And Javier would actually show up here on paying to the agents. And so you can see what the breakdown is of the $22,549.98. Okay. And then we already went over the outside referral, which is essentially the same thing as the co-broker payment. Okay. Now, once you submit things to the MCA, it's not the end of the world. It's just like a green sheet. If there's something that's not correct here, like with the office split, or you think you may have been capped by your records, you can always just add a note and say, hey, I think that this would, this is actually, I'm already capped, or this agent's already capped, or what have you. Also, if you're getting a bold reimbursement, then you would put that note here. Okay. And so definitely utilize this if there's something that's not necessarily working out. But just know that once you hit submit, it's not etched in stone. And usually if there's a question, like if the MCA doesn't really understand, something, then they'll open up a conversation with you. Okay. So I think I've gone through all of the different aspects of the commissions tab. Um, Essentially, it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, once you get everything the way that you want it, you would just submit here, and then it would be off and on to the next one. So are there any questions, or is there anything that you were hoping that I would go over that I did not go over or touch on?
Hey, Haywood, I don't know if you just saw my chat, but I was asking
Oh,
if you could show everybody how to add the property address in the details section,
okay.
because it
Yep.
won't let you submit without having a property address in there.
Yeah, exactly. And if it's an issue, you'll see it here. So I must actually already have it in, but so essentially, if you're in here and well, let me just try to recreate this. I'll clear everything and then save it. All right, cancel. Okay, so it won't allow me to take it out. But essentially, if you don't have the address in, it'll say something like, commission is missing, property address. And so essentially when you see that, you'll just go back to details and you'll go to properties and you will hit on this pin, and then you'll just type in what the address is. It'll ask you first if this is America or Canada. Click America, and then you can put in the information there, hit save, and then that should go away. That error would go away. That's definitely a good question, Lisa. Good point. I forgot to put that in. Like I said, a lot. So the idea is that, and they're getting to this, but the idea is that once you put information into this general information bucket in the property and the seller worksheet, a lot of it will be translated over to the offers and the commissions tab so that you can just fill it out once. Okay. There are times where I have seen where it's not doing it correctly right now, but at some point in the future, that will definitely be working.
One question in the chat box from Dave Moya Haywood.
Okay.
I think he missed the part on adding the bonus/admin fee. Could you just circle back on that really quick?
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So if you wanted to add a bonus or an admin fee, essentially you come down to the agent. So I have two agents here. This is the agent that did the work, and this is the agent, the Rainmaker, that there's a split. And so if, the way I kind of, and this is up to, every person in their team, but if I were going to assess a bonus or a transaction fee, you can actually, click on the edit agent payment and come down to the bottom. You click on add an item, and you'll see all of the different elements here. And so if it's a bonus, so if there's, let's say your transaction fee is $4.95, then you could put in bonus and then $4.95 here and hit add. And so it would add it here, but then you would come in and make a deduction of $175. And then you would put in a transaction fee. And pay to, uh, all right, address.
Just real quick while you're doing that, Haywood,
Uh-huh.
just wanted to mention, because we have a lot of most of our teams who have been here before May 1st of last year do not
Hmm.
have that admin fee. So if you guys
Okay.
are confused by this on this call, you can just ignore that part. You don't have to add that deduction in. I just wanted to mention that really quick.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. There are. I mean, I've heard that, between multiple people. So, yeah, you're right. There's some of us that have it, some people that don't. If it doesn't apply to you, then yeah, I wouldn't definitely don't make that deduction.
Yeah, and if you don't know about that deduction, like if you're not sure about it, you can leave it out. The market center knows who pays that admin fee and who doesn't, and will automatically calculate it for you. And you'll always see them on your DA. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to your MCA about it.
Yeah, and really the whole reason for doing this, and like putting all of these in, is so that you can get a better approximation of what your check is going to look like.
Absolutely.
Um, but if you don't do any of that stuff, like if you don't put anything in, like I said, the MCAs, they're going to check and they're going to make sure that like everything is correct, before they pay you. And so if you choose not to put any of the deductions or the bonuses or any of that stuff in, um, it just means that what you have here is going to be different than what your actual physical check is going to look like. Okay, so really this is just to give you a better idea of how much you're going to expect to receive. Let's see if I can monitor the chat box also. There we go. Okay. All right. Um, all right. So if that's it, then we can conclude for today. Like I said, I did record this, and so if anyone, or actually, what I should do is just I'll send it out to the whole group, the this recording, and you can definitely take a look at it. If there's something that you remember or you forgot that I did, you can always refer back to the video. Also, if you need help with any of your transactions, with anything with command, I do have one-on-ones, and so I have a Calendly link that all of the dough fees, they have that, so they'll be happy to share that with you, and then you can schedule a one-on-one with me. It's going to be on Zoom, and also I rotate all three offices, and so if there's a day that you'd rather meet in person, I'm typically in Tyson's on Tuesday, and I'm in Arlington on Wednesday. And then as I need to, I can rotate between the three different offices on a Friday. Okay, so if you need support on Friday, then I can definitely meet you in your office, or we can do a Zoom call. Okay. And so if there is no more questions, then I think we can definitely convene. It's 1:35, and so you can have 30 or 25 more minutes of your day back to do something else.